Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. If you spend enough time online, you'll start noticing the same story popping up again and again. And someone says, I started my own business and within 1 year, I was a multi-millionaire living the life of my dreams. And that's a great story. It's exciting. It's inspirational. But the truth is, in almost every case, it's completely not true. Not only is that story unrealistic, it's almost impossible for the average person. And the dangerous part is how many people actually believe it. Social media spreads it everywhere because it's a lot easier to sell a dream than to face reality. And the reality is this: if you want to get rich or build real wealth, it will take a lot of time and hard work. And if you don't want to put in that time, the learning or the work, you'd probably be better off just buying a lottery ticket and hoping for the best. And that's not me being mean or trying to discourage anyone, but most of the time when I'm making these videos, it feels like I'm talking to my old self. And I want to save you years of wasted effort chasing quick wins that never actually pay off. Don't misunderstand me though. I've made good money through trendy business models, but the bad thing about those and things like top 10 side hustles to start this year, videos like that, is that they usually don't work out in the long term. Your time should be focused on building specific skills, learning from real world experience, testing ideas on a small scale, and then scaling the ones that work. That's the truth. That's what no one wants to talk about because it doesn't sound glamorous, but that's what actually does work. So if I was starting over again today and I wanted to actually make real money and not just chase trends, there are 6 steps I would follow every single time. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Step 1, discover what you're naturally good at. One of the most common pieces of advice you'll ever hear is follow your passion. And that does sound really good on paper, but here's the problem. Not all passions pay, and sometimes you don't even know exactly what your passion is until much later in life. Passion is nice to have, but when you're starting from scratch, skill is what gets the lights on. I've seen too many people waste time chasing things that they love while earning very little money because it has very little earning potential, thinking that passion alone is somehow going to make that work. If you're passionate about something, you can try to use it to make money, but give yourself a reasonable time frame. And if that doesn't work, move on to the next best thing, and that's you focusing on your skills. Don't spend years trying to force a career path. Instead, solve the money problem first, and then you can indulge the passions that don't have to pay bills. The key is to get brutally honest about your strengths. There's someone named Ray Dalio, and this is the man I mentioned in my biggest wealth opportunity of the decade video. He was the founder of Bridgewater Associates, and he calls this finding your game, the game that you can win at. And I found mine by trying almost everything you can think of. And through that process, I realized I had a natural talent for connecting with people, retaining a lot of information, and making sales. Once you know your strengths, lean into them. It's far easier to double down on what you're already good at than it is to start from zero in something completely new. Those natural talents are your fastest path to solving the income problem. And once that's handled, you can start developing other skills. Step 2, commit fully to the job that you currently have right now. There's a trend right now that glorifies the idea of escaping the matrix or quiet quitting. And that idea is that you do the bare minimum at your job so you can focus on your side hustle or the career that you really want to do. I get the reasoning. You want to conserve your energy for your own projects or when you get home. But here is the problem with that, and I addressed this before in a separate video. However you do the small things is exactly how you'll do the big things. If you have commit now, you'll carry the same habit into your own business or your own ideas later, and that's a guaranteed way to fail. I learned this from a man that I truly respect and worked with at my last job. And there were days where I really hated being there. I did not want to do it, but I never checked out mentally. I used that time. I learned some skills, systems, other sales tips, leadership, delegation, and dealing with customers, which for me was probably the hardest thing to have to do. Now, those skills have come back later in ways that I could not have predicted. Same thing when I worked in a bank. I asked questions, I studied systems, and I learned how the financial system actually worked. That knowledge was priceless, but in the past, I couldn't really see that at the time. But whatever job you have right now, look for the lessons that it's giving you. Study why things work the way that they do. Keep track of what's effective and what's not. That information will be gold when you start a business of your own someday. Step number 3, build a network and a strong character. Your skills will open doors, but your relationships and your character will determine how far you get once you're inside. The two go hand in hand. If your image is sloppy or inconsistent, the people you want in your network will keep their distance. And that's just reality. First impressions happen fast, sometimes in seconds, and now thanks to social media, people can form an opinion of you without ever even meeting you. Now, you probably noticed I didn't say reputation, and that brings me to one of my favorite Nipsey Hussle quotes. Worry about your character, not your reputation. Your character is who you are. Your reputation is who people think you are. And I always made it my mission to stand out based on principles. You don't need to be great at everything, but you do need to be known for something. In a noisy world where everyone is fighting for attention, the willingness to calculate risk and stand out can make all the difference in the world. And here's the secret. Most people respond best when you show genuine interest in them. Most people are so focused on themselves that even a little authenticity goes a long way in building a strong connection. And this all may not seem important to like my younger audience, but trust me, when I say business has a lot to do with strong communication skills and even more so with how you connect with the people around you, that is going to be one of the most important skills and one of the most important lessons you will ever learn. Step 4, spot the problems and write them down earlier. In step 2, I said that you should pay attention to the good and bad aspects of your current job, and here's why. Every business has flaws. The trick is to notice them before you're in charge of your own. I believe many people start a business for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, they want to make more money, which is reasonable given the cost of living versus the median income salary. Reason number 2, simply because they didn't like how their company did things. But if you've been keeping track of what works and what doesn't work, you can design your own operation to avoid those same mistakes. We've all noticed several major issues at previous employers: bad location, poor product to service selection, undertrained staff. I would write all of that down. And later, when you open your own business, you can fix every single one of those issues. Think of this as getting paid to do market research. Consultants charge thousands to analyze problems in a business. You can learn the same lessons from the inside and get a paycheck while you do it. Step number 5 is to test your ideas. Starting a business is a big leap. It costs time, it costs money, and it takes energy. And if you get it wrong, it can wipe you out before you even get a chance to learn. That's why testing on a small scale is so important. Before launching your business, it's best to test your product or your services with real customers. You can do a great deal of product and service testing using social media. That's the way to gauge what potential customers actually want. A friend of mine took an even leaner approach. He started an online store with the pre-order and ran ads to drive traffic. And at the time, he didn't even have any inventory. When orders came in, he was able to make the exact amount of products that he needed for the following month based on those pre-orders. He now had proof that the product would sell before he even had to spend a dime on stock. And this is the essence of the minimum viable product concept that's popular in startups. Get the offer in front of real buyers quickly, collect data, collect feedback, and refine it as you go. Don't just ask a friend for their opinion. The only feedback that truly matters is from the people that are willing to pay. Sometimes you'll find that a small percentage of your efforts, maybe 20%, produce most of your results. In step number 6, go all in. And this is where you stop testing and you actually start building. By the time you reach this step, you'll have skills, relationships, a tested offer, and a proof of demand. You're not rolling the dice anymore. You're scaling something that's already working. The people who build lasting wealth don't get there by constantly chasing the next big thing. They find something that works and they put their full focus into delivering value to as many people as possible. Look at the results from your business, find the best performing elements, the ones that bring in the most sales or get the best feedback, and figure out how to get those in front of more people. That's how you turn a small project into a real business. So here are my final thoughts. You now need to ask yourself what business ideas actually make sense for you. And this is always where a lot of people get stuck. Right now, you need to take time to figure out your natural strengths. If you don't know what this is, test out a lot of different business ideas that make sense for you. Because if you don't, you'll either choose something way out of your skill set and spend years struggling, even if you had the drive to make those commitments, or you'll get into something trendy that you saw on YouTube because it looked easy, and then you wonder why it's not working for you. And this is the danger of copycat entrepreneurship. You see videos that make a business model sound simple and you think, well, if they could do it, I can do it. I'm not going to say that's not true, but what you don't see is years of skill, trial and error, and the connections that people build before they make it look easy. The fastest way to finish a business idea that fits you is to combine 3 things: your strongest skills, the problem you can solve, and the people you can help. Start with industries you already understand. And if you've worked in retail or sales, trades, design, customer service, whatever it is, you have inside knowledge that most people will not have. You know the common mistakes, you know the gaps in service and the little frustrations that customers face. Those gaps are your opportunities. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to continue making content like this because I feel a responsibility to ensure that people are actually focusing on making business models that provide people with value instead of looking for things that are trendy. I do a lot of business coachings, and I had one recently where someone was telling me they want to do exactly what I'm doing. And I had to ask them, do you know what I'm doing? And they told me credit repair, business funding. And I've said this so many times, that is not what I'm doing. Not at all. In fact, I know what I'm doing is so unique to me because it's tailored to do exactly what I intended, and I'm not the same as everyone else. This is about me selling, one, a personal brand, an idea, but mostly I'm selling information, and then I'm also selling a solution for a lot of problems. You're getting it for free, and then other people like corporations and businesses are paying for that solution. So again, it may seem like that to someone on the surface if you've only watched like 5 of my videos. But if you look at my catalog, I'm definitely not any of the things that that person thought. And I think that it disappointed them when I actually kind of gave them the rundown of how this worked and what it took for me to do it. And yeah, it was a lot of effort. It was a lot of energy, and it probably sounds insane until you see the results and what it did. So it's definitely doable. Is it for everyone? Not necessarily. I think a lot of people should have a YouTube channel if they have something to actually say and they have something to provide of value. But you don't have to do what I'm doing. What I'm doing is just not the same as what most people are doing. If you have a financial background, if you have a skill set in that, perfect. Then that's what you should focus on. Make sure that you're a licensed professional if that's what you're looking to do, especially if you're providing those services. It can be very dangerous if you're doing that and you don't have certifications, all right? You can't advise people of things like that. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is that you really should focus on things that you care about and that you know. Again, it's not a passion, but care enough that people can make a connection with you and actually pick something that makes sense with your skill set. If not, you will find yourself chasing trends, trying to do what you think is easy because you're trying to make easy money. And I can guarantee you that's the fastest way to fail. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope that you got some value from this. Join my Success University. There is a link in the description. We are continuing to grow fast. I would love to see you in there. Share this video with someone that may have some frustrations with starting a business, and maybe they just need a little bit of a reality check in order to figure out exactly what they need to do. Hopefully this will help them. Again, thanks for watching, and you have a wonderful day.